Okay, got the heads over here now. Get some baseline dimensions of what we got to work with here. So we need to measure the stem height to kind of get an idea where we're at on these things. So we're about 360-ish right there. That was about 370. So exhaust a little deeper. Surprised it's that close. This one's 370 for sure. And whoa, that one's sunk. That was like 390. That's that intake that's way down there. Okay, so we definitely got some room on that one. Okay, so about 360 I think was our number. That was on the intake on this head over here. Yeah, so this is going to be the one we're going to check our numbers on. Okay, so I take my collars and I cut away the lip that goes right there to make room for valve seals. So that goes right on there. We got a stock collar and stock keepers. Now with this cam here, we're going to need a 475 clearance basically. We don't know what we got yet to work with. Collar. Pulling relatively tight. Okay, let's see. For my normal numbers, let's see on my cheat sheet over here. Shovelhead is around 375. 1.375. And we are right in there. We're right about that number, about 380-ish. So that puts us pretty damn close out of the box. That's our tightest one. These two are pretty close. Only this intake over here was lower, which means we got to put a little bit of a shim in that one to equalize them. And probably not much of a shim. 15 thou maybe. It's hardly even dealing with it really. So for this application, it's not even worth dealing with it because he's not going to drive it that hard. Okay, so we should have enough number here. So I'm going to go ahead and do a check here and see if all of these springs have decent coil bind height. And then I'll do my real calculation and make sure that number, what I think it is going to be good. So I'm going to take all of this right here. We can either use my 6-inch scale here to do my measurements with. You're going from flat spot of the spring to flat spot of the springs when it's coil bound. Or you can go in there with a caliper and catch the edge of that and measure with a caliper. You can do it either way. So, me, I go both ways. I don't care. Today I want to be light. I'm taking my scale. You don't need no big fancy ass tools to use. Okay, I'll go this way. Alright, turn on the light. See if I can do a camera and turn on the light with one hand. That. Okay, so this is our spring checking tool over here. You might have one in your garage. When it quits moving, don't force it. Come over and just measure it, see where you're at. Okay, we are right at about 810 or so. That's pretty damn low. Now if you want to measure it with a caliper, you can go and grab your caliper. Make sure it's relatively zero. Come over and measure with that. Oop. Right there. So I said about it came about 2 thou, but I said about 310 or so. It was 313 is what it was when I measured it. So I'm within 3 thou with my bad eyes and my scale. That's why I use my scale a lot. If you get within 3 thou, that's pretty good. If you're within 10, you're doing good. One fits in my pocket easily, and the other one doesn't, though. That's how I look at it. Okay, so let me check this one. 810 is pretty low also. Most times they're about 820, 825 area. Okay. So this one here is more on the 820-ish area, like it's supposed to be. Well, it's a little bit higher up. That's a solid 825. So we can put that with that one that's really sunk in there deep. Okay, and this one here. It helps to rotate the spring where you can do your measurement easier. It's hard to measure a spring when you're on a round part of the coil here. Being on a flat spot is definitely a lot easier. So you got to rotate it where you got flatness on both sides, which is basically from here to here is only just 45-degree areas where you got to measure, and everything else you got a round spot on one of the upper bottom, one of two sides. And this one here is, oh yeah, that's a 825 also. No doubt about it. That's a good spring. I should keep that for something important. Yeah, that's a nice low lift one. I like that. Okay, so I put these in order of what they are. These two are the same. These two are a little bit different, but they're close. Okay. Yeah. Back over here. Okay, now we got to figure out where these springs are going to go. Okay, this is our tightest one, which is our rear intake. So, tightest spring goes where rear intake goes. The next two are about equal. The intake more than exhaust. And then this is the worst one, which is the, which one was it, front intake or the front exhaust? Front intake I think was the worst. Another scale. Yeah, this will be front intake. Okay, so now I lay those out on the table so I know how they all go. So, always lay my stuff out front to rear. So you got rear end exhaust, rear intake, front intake, rear exhaust. I mean front exhaust, excuse me. So that's how you lay them out. So if you lay them out the same way every time, it makes it simple. Okay. So no, that's good. So now you just figure out what our lift is going to be for our, oh, our coil bond. I haven't figured out our coil bond yet. Don't know this. Okay. So our lift's going to be, we got 825 for spring height, 0.825. We add in plus 50 for clearance. Then you add in, that's 875. Now you got to add in your valve lift, which is 575. 0.575 equals 1,450. Whoa, that doesn't seem right. That's way above normal. What did I do wrong? 0.825 plus 0.05 plus 0.475. There we go, 1,350. I must have put 575. So we need 350. We got 360-ish on the tightest one. 360, 665, probably about 365. And we had like 390 to almost 400 on the highest one. So we're safe. Good to go. I don't have to do any extra clearancing. We're good to go. Doing one if you want to. We can shim up the one over there, which I don't really care about. So I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, now the only thing I got to worry about now is my retainer to valve guide clearance. Because we have a valve seal mixed in the middle of all this. Okay, so that's going to be this gap right down in here. So the distance from here to the top of the valve guide is the clearance we need to worry about. Okay, this is a 1/2 inch stick, and it looks like I got about an extra 100 in there. So we got about 600 roughly. Now if you take it and measure it, yeah, we're right there at 600. Okay, so now this valve seal is going to be 100 thou thick minimum. Basically it's 125. And you got to add that to your lift, which is 475, so that's 600 thousandths. So we got 600, and we should have 50 thou seal clearance for breathing. So that means we got to sink this down about another 50 thousandths to 60 thou down till we get our clearance. We don't want the seal being bashed by this. Now, one other thing we got this is cut out under here, so it gives a little extra clearance. So we probably don't need the full 50. Okay, the next thing is the seal sticks up, it takes up 300 thousandths of the valve guide. So right now we have 350 thousandths clearance on that. So if we cut that down 50 thou, we'll be golden. Okay, so we'll take this out of the way. And we measure how thick this is right now. That's about 450, right where they normally are at. So I don't know what you're at here. I might be able to read this a little bit, I don't know. So usually I cut them down to about 425. In this case here, we need to be right in that ballpark number. We're going to be at 410, 415 to be safe. I don't want to go quite to 400. Okay, wrong direction. Okay, this is our valve seal. When you put the valve in there, it pooches it up. There's a wiper. There's a lower upper collar. And you do have some recession where this can go into here. See how this is cut away? It's just a matter where the keeper sits on this thing. Determines how much cheating you can do for install height on the seal. So all of this stuff does matter. Okay, so you can see that the keepers are buried way up inside the collar. Get what you can see in there, I'm not sure. Maybe like that, you can see, yeah. So they're buried in there pretty good. So that means this thing here can basically, you got this much clearance in here. That whole thing that pooches up can go right inside of here. So we can live at a 425 number, we'll have plenty of clearance. Which I already know that pretty much works most of the time anyway. So I'm good with it. But that's how you double check to make sure everything's going to fly. Cutter. Okay, so this is our valve guide cutter, seal installing tool. So actually this inner one in here is what cuts the seal down. That little lip right there. That little edge right here is what does it. When you get down deep enough, you'll cut the top of the guide down, but you got to be down about 390 before you hit the guide. So we're not worried about the guide right now. So I need my measuring tool with me. Okay, so I'm going to take all this stuff over to the other side over here. I don't have enough hands to carry everything, so I'm going to leave this over here. Okay, so this we're just going to do a quickie cut over here. This is my head goes on this, and this goes against the valve seat area. It's got a right radius edge on here, so it sits inside of the valve bowl and goes like this around, self-centering effect basically. See, and it doesn't chew up the seat. If you had a strainage on it, it wouldn't do that. Yeah, come on, where you at? Halfway close, that's good. Cotton oil. In this case, it's a lubrication oil for the stem. I don't care about the guide cutting. Okay, here's our heads. So like I said, that tool is going to sit on top of our valve seat area here, where it's all basically a big funnel. And that'll sit upside down on top of that, and then I come right straight down here and cut this. That kind of self-center. Okay, once we're set up, we're good. Okay, it does a little bit of a cut there. Measure it. I want to be done about 415-ish area is where I want to be at. Right now we are. Every length sucks there. Pretty close. About 425 or so, 420. I'll give just a skosh more. We'll hit it one more time. Right, we want to be about 415. I don't know if you can see that or not. You know what you're focusing on. And we started way up here about 455, 460 is about what these guys are normally. Same, good. Let's do the next head. That should be enough. Yep, good. All right. Go over here. Okay, now we got deburr the guide. Deburring tool. That leaves a sharp edge on there, which we do not want. That deburrs the hole a little bit. Puts a very light deburr on it. So now we blow them out. Blow the inside out. Then blow the other side. So you do that. Alright, take care of that. Tool. You clean off your tool when you're done. You don't have to, I guess. But it doesn't hurt. Okay, one last thing I do is I deburr the hole. I burnish the hole in with a pilot in there. So we'll take our pilot, just in case there's anything in the hole that's going to cause a problem. You know, any kind of a burr, something sticking up, we don't know what. You just take the pilot, and you run in there, and that burnishes the hole in. So you give it twice like that, and pull it out. Wipe it off, do the other one. So if there's any kind of an edge in there, it'll push it out of the way and smooth it out. So we have nothing to damage your valve guide, or your valve with, I mean. Little detail things you do. Makes things live longer. Okay. Alright, so that's all detailed out. Okay, now I gotta go ahead and clean up everything, and we'll be back. Okay, we're back all cleaned up. So I went and grabbed a 30 thou shim just in case I want to use it. Okay, so we got all the stuff clean now, so these are ready to go to be assembled. So let me go see if I can find out which valve was bad. Pretty sure it was this one right here, front one. $375. And that one's actually a little higher too. That's about $385. And this one is about $400. Maybe a little higher than $400. See what the shim looks like with it on there. Just too low. 30 is too much. Going on here. It's bent. No, it just doesn't sit on top of the guide correctly. Touchy. 375. Okay, so we put that one on there. So we'll put a 15 thou shim on the front intake. So that goes in the front intake pile. Alright, and this one's an extra 10 over there, I'll live with it. Alright, customer likes stuff more accurate. We'll make it more accurate. It's not really needed, but oh well. At least they're all the same, within 10. Okay, so now I can go ahead and assemble all this stuff, put our valve seals on here and get everything going together. Okay, this is what the front. This one's the rear. Okay. Pull Nothing residue on this glass. Good. All right. So I'll take our Loctite sleeve retainer. This is for sealing the valve seals up and sticking them in there. So this goes around the valve guide right here. Put a little swipe of it around there, doesn't need much. Wipe off any excess. Basically you can't even see it hardly even on there. It's on there but very, very thin in layer. That's all it takes. Once the seal goes on, it pushes off what it doesn't like anyway. So you only use that much. Basically just fill in the pores of the machine cast iron. Okay. Take care of that. Okay, get a little assembly oil. Doesn't want to flow. Must be cold. Alright, so lube on the intake. Make sure it's for the front head. Make sure you're on the front head. Always rotate the stem a little bit as I go in. Just gets a nice and even coat of oil onto this inside the guide there. This will be the only lubricant this valve is going to see for a while, so if you start up a fresh one and rev the piss out of it, better make sure you get some oil on your stems. Like I said, I just kind of roll them a little bit as I push them in. Make sure they got drag on them. Good. Nothing wants to flow in this weather. Oh, I forgot to check the TD lifts on for the cam. Kind of important thing to not check. So this is a relatively mild TD lift cam. It was 160 something by 170, 80 something, so I'll make it 170 by 190. Okay, this is what the intake. So that's just done by the scale here, just do a quickie look at it. Give it some light on what I'm doing. Okay, we're about, where are we at? About 375. Extra. It has a couple hundred thou on that one. And let's see, that's about the same. Let me see, 375. About 200. What can I add today? A little bit under 200 would be our number. Nope. Everything moved, that doesn't help. Keep the head flat. Let's see, I don't know which one's which. Yeah, we'll give it almost 200 above. There you go, 200 above. Damn valve's closing. Jeez. These things don't close like this. Definitely got a good gap on it. I'm thinking it closed up on me some more though. There's 190-ish. $180. There we go. See the number in there? See the clearance? They close automatically, see? Now that was a lot more than I needed, but on this number I don't care if I get a little extra in there. A couple hundred on that one. A couple hundred on this one. We got clearance. We're good. That's how you check it. Okay, which head are we on? We are on the front. This is the exhaust. That goes nothing on there. Stick the collar on it. Stick the seal in there. Just kind of roll the seal on here a little bit. Pops on like that. Okay, the intake we're putting the shim under here. Make sure it fits on the collar. Yes, it does. You want to make sure it stays on the flat part of the collar. If it's too big, you can't use it. It'll hold the collar up more than you want. Just like this thing didn't want to go around the valve guide very easily. Okay. If the collar's rocking, it's not sealed very good. Or not all the way down flat. Okay, those seals are on. Do the other one. Now, I didn't individually check everything here because I got plenty of clearances. I don't have to. That 10-15 thou difference in a couple places, it's not really going to hurt me any, so no reason to check everything the closer you can make it. Okay, where's my hammer? Need appropriate tools out. Okay. Going down. They're tight. Seals, I'm trying to rotate the seals. They're not moving. Valves go up and down like they're supposed to. We're golden. Okay. Same thing on this head. They're all tight. Valves are working. Okay. We're good. This is what the rear head. Okay, using the old Harley valve spring compressor. There's a tool order from Harley. Yeah, good luck on getting one. Okay, this is our rear head. So we're going to start way over here on the intake. Don't care which color I'm using. Okay, get up high enough you can get in there. The keeper's in there. Okay, I hold the one keeper with my finger. It'll help put it in there with your screwdriver you can to make sure it's inside the groove correctly. There it goes. You want to make sure you hold it in there square where it belongs. Then you just take this one and drop it right on top of it. Make sure it's correctly flat in there too. See, I just fell out. Get to put it back in now. I don't like putting grease, oil, or anything else on the damn keepers. Just unscrew it here in the bottom. It'll pull itself in. See how they go up in there like that. Make sure it's in there all the way flat. They both look like they're in there good, so that one's good. Grab the other spring in line. Remember, I already had the springs pre-laid out over there. Sit in there. That might not be enough. One more. There we go. Here's it popped in the groove there, my finger on it. Let it drop in, and then unscrew. Looks good again. I'm going to get it flat on my table here by putting exhaust. See, I put the exhaust on the edge, over the edge of the table. Come back until you hit. That way you're not beating on the exhaust port. Okay, and I take my flat blade screwdriver, plastic hammer. You put it flat on each keeper, one at a time. Give it a little wrap. Ideally, you want the spring to feel like it gives down a little bit, and then you get a good wrap to it. Hear it pop, pop, pop. Okay, that makes everything's jammed in there really good and tight and centered up. It doesn't matter if the groove, the gap in the keeper is not equal. Only dumbasses care about that shit. It makes no difference. The keeper's going to bounce around wherever the hell it wants to go, believe me. Okay, so now we do the other head, same thing. Okay, this exhaust, use the exhaust one. Way more than I need it. There we go. Keepers over here to get to them. Now Harley keepers work very, very well. Aftermarket keepers don't work very well, so you got to make sure your keepers match your collars and your valve stem. If the thing doesn't center up very well, don't use it. That keeper there didn't want to go in there. Who's not in there? Someone's not in there, right? Somebody is wrong. I'm holding my fingers wrong. There it goes. Did you hear it pop in? Let the keeper sit in there flat. If you're going to let the valve spring try to push it in correctly, it usually gouges up the valve and doesn't go in square. That's when it can pop out. And that would be a problem, believe me. It's in there good. There's the intake. Grabbing the wrong thing over there. I don't need that no more. I'm done with it. Enough. Okay. Pop in. Drop in. There. Oop. Direction. Okay, everybody's in there like they're supposed to be. Okay, now you do a quick check to make sure you don't screw up. We're thinking this one here, we're up a little over 400. That's higher than it should be. We're looking for 375, I think. This one's about 390-ish. So with the full tension on everything, it pulled up a little tighter. Gave a little extra clearance. This one did not pull in. This one is a little on the low side. It's right at 370-ish. Low 70. This one is 390-ish. So what's this? This is the intake for the rear. That's not the one that was sunk. For some reason this one's a little bit more than the other one, or less, I mean. It's right down there where at the bottom part of it. Yeah. It's right on the number, so I don't know why that one didn't pull up all the other ones did. But we got enough. It's right there, but it's good. Okay, so that's how you do your heads. So they're all clearanced, ready to go. So now we find some rocker arm and boxes and put those on next. So that's what it looks like. You can see how it's all good airflow. When that valve opens, it's flowing air. That's what you want. There's no big hole that's got to come out of. It just starts flowing. This one here is where it's really sunk in, this valve, and you see how it instantly, as soon as it opens up, it flows. We did a little bit of light porting in here, not too much, just a little bit. So, I always like my stuff to run a little bit better than normal, so a little extra work never hurts anything, you know. You know, you spend an extra half hour on something, it makes it run so much better. Yeah, simple. All right, that's how you do it. On to the next project.